Greetings, greetings, greetings to all those who are still enjoying the experience of space, benefiting from the technology. Today is Friday, July 29th. I will not be on long, but I wanted to hop on specifically for the purpose of the participants who are still in the process of completing the study. Yay. Congratulations. I just wanted to hop on in case anybody had any questions or wanted to connect directly. So I won't be on for too long, but I did want to go ahead and share a few things. And this is from one of Les Femi's readings. I think this is the open focus brain. Starts off saying object-less imagery, the multisensory experience and awareness of space, nothingness or absence almost always elicits large amplitude and prolonged periods of phase synchronous alpha activity. Nothing is not merely nothing. Nothing, in fact, is a great and robust healer and is critical to the health and well-being of our nervous system. Space is unique among the contents of attention because space, silence, timelessness cannot be concentrated on or grasped as a separate experience. It slips through, permeates your attention through all your senses, seeing, hearing, tasting, feeling, smelling, and thinking of space, basking in it, while simultaneously experiencing timelessness is a powerful way to let go, the most powerful way that I know. Simply by watching EEG activity, I discovered the robust effects of the awareness of space on the central nervous system in my own way. But I was certainly not the first to realize that being aware of space or nothing has value. I've since found other examples of perceiving space and nothingness as a goal of meditation. One Eastern mystic wrote that it was important to attain a state of mind in which, even though surrounded by crowds of people, it is as if you were alone in a field extending for tens of thousands of miles. The Japanese have a philosophy of ma, the ability to see the space between objects, as well as the objects themselves. Other traditions use guided visual meditations on mandalas, in which practitioners focus on the space between the lines of the sacred symbols. All of these technologies no doubt slow cortical rhythms and relax the central nervous system. Certainly, they deserve further study and research. Indeed, work by several researchers would later show that phase synchronous alpha is the hallmark of veteran meditators. What Femi did, in effect, was to discover some of the Western correlates of Eastern spiritual disciplines and describe them in the language of psychology and physiology. Since a sustained awareness of space is key to open focus, attention, he recorded a series of exercises to guide people through different kinds of objectless imagery, asking them to imagine space first between and around body regions, and then through them, extending limitlessly in every direction. For example, he asked listeners to imagine space in, around, and through their eyes, neck, head, and hands, which leads to a release of those areas, and ultimately space extending limitlessly in every direction. When people gently direct their awareness to it and imagine feeling space, the brain responds immediately. dropping into whole brain synchronous alpha, connected to instruments that show them when they are synchronous alpha. Subjects can learn to change very quickly. Some notice positive changes in mood, tension, and anxiety, all widely reported effects of alpha in a single half-hour session. And long-term effects include improved memory, clear thinking, heightened creativity, and the reduction of pain. So with that, I will move into another session for those who are watching and want to utilize this as one of their sessions for today. This one is it's a lengthier session. It's about 20 minutes, so just settle in and allow yourself to do this for yourself, for your own health and well-being. Take a moment now to adjust your posture so it is gently upright. As best as you can, let yourself be still during the exercise. Can you imagine letting your mind and body naturally and effortlessly respond to the following questions concerning your ability to imagine certain experiences? Can you imagine not giving any particular effort to listening to the questions or achieving any of the associated images or experiences? Can you imagine that the ideal response is whatever spontaneously happens to your imagery or experience when a particular question is asked? The nature of your experience will naturally change and deepen with continued practice. Can you imagine that your opening and expanding awareness of your emerging experience is a continuing process? Can you imagine feeling your most intense pain in your head, neck, or shoulders and rating it on a scale of 0 to 10, with 10 signifying that you can't stand the pain anymore, and 0 signifying no pain at all? Can you imagine feeling the space between your eyes? Can you imagine feeling the space between your pain and your eyes? Is it possible for you to imagine feeling this space inside your nose as you inhale and exhale naturally? Can you imagine feeling your pain and feeling your breath flowing behind and through your eyes as you inhale and exhale naturally? Can you imagine feeling the space between your pain and the space inside your nose and inside your eyes? Can you imagine feeling the space inside your throat as you inhale and exhale naturally? Is it possible for you to imagine feeling the space between your pain and the inside of your throat and the space inside your nose? Can you imagine feeling the space between your pain and inside your mouth and cheeks? Is it possible for you to imagine feeling the space between your pain and the volume of your tongue? Can you imagine feeling the space between your pain and the volume of your teeth and gums? Can you imagine feeling the space between your pain and the volume of your lips? Is it possible for you to imagine feeling the space between your pain and the region between your upper lip and the base of your nose? Can you imagine feeling the space between your pain and the space inside your throat? Can you imagine the space between your pain and the inside of your ears? Can you imagine feeling the space between your pain and the tip of your chin? Can you imagine feeling the distance between your pain and your temples? Can you imagine feeling the space between your pain and the top of your head? Can you imagine feeling the space between your pain and your cheekbones? Is it possible for you to imagine feeling the space between your pain and the tip of your chin and your eyes? Can you imagine feeling the space between your pain and the tip of your chin and the middle of your forehead? Can you imagine feeling the space between your pain and the tip of your chin and the corners of your mouth? Can you imagine feeling the space between your pain and the tip of your chin and your lower lip? Is it possible for you to imagine feeling the space between your pain and your whole jaw? Can you imagine feeling the space between your pain and the inside bridge of your nose? Can you imagine feeling the space between your pain and the space at the back of your head? Can you imagine feeling the space between your pain and the space inside your eyes? Is it possible for you to imagine feeling that the region around your eyes is filled with space? Can you imagine feeling the space your eyelids occupy? Can you imagine feeling the space between your pain and your eyelids and your eyebrows? Is it possible for you to imagine feeling the space between your pain and your entire face simultaneously, including your eyes, ears, forehead, temples, and your jaw, and your nose, and your tongue, teeth, and gums, and lips, Can you imagine feeling the space between your pain and the region of your scalp? Can you imagine that as you inhale naturally, your breath fills the entire volume of your face and scalp and head, including your ears and jaw and eyes? Can you imagine that as you exhale and as your breath leaves your body, it leaves your face, scalp, and head empty, that is, filled with space? Can you imagine feeling the space between your pain and the space inside your neck and the tips of your shoulders? Can you imagine feeling the space inside your throat and neck, expanding to fill the entire region of your shoulders? Can you imagine that as you inhale naturally, your breath fills your entire head, neck, and shoulders? And that as you exhale and your breath leaves your body, and it leaves this entire region filled with space. At the same time, you're aware of the space inside this entire region. Is it possible for you also to imagine the space around these regions, space around your shoulders and neck and head? Can you imagine feeling the space the whole room occupies? Can you imagine also feeling the space your whole body occupies? Can you imagine also feeling the space your head occupies? Can you imagine also feeling the space your pain occupies? Can you imagine letting this awareness, which is you, intermingle with the pain and letting your pain intermingle with your awareness? Can you imagine letting awareness and pain intermingle, merge, and spread in every direction? Once again, please rate your remaining pain on a scale of 1 to 10. Can you imagine that as you continue to practice, your experience will become more vivid, engaged, and more effortless? Can you imagine practicing this exercise at least twice daily for your own health and well-being? Notice the space around your heart. Breathe deeply. And when you are ready, bring your attention back into the room and open your eyes. And that's it for today. Feel free to journal about your experiences and keep experiencing space. And we will see you in space, in regions of the outer and inner regions of space. Enjoy your day. Take care. Bye.